The dark side of Ireland, why nobody wants to live in Europe's richest country. For centuries, Ireland was one of the poorest countries in Europe. But then something incredible happened. The Irish economy boomed. Today, Ireland is one of the wealthiest nations in the world, surpassing even countries like Switzerland, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. Everyone says Ireland is doing great, but the truth is not everyone agrees. About 70% of young people are thinking of leaving the country, mainly because of the economic situation. But how is this possible? Why are people dissatisfied in one of the wealthiest countries in the world? Ireland's success story is not as perfect as it seems. In this video, we'll understand how Ireland went from poverty to wealth, and it's important to know a bit of the context behind this story. For much of its history, Ireland had a reputation totally opposite to what it has today. First, as part of the United Kingdom, and then as an independent country, Ireland was considered poor, with a predominantly agricultural and underdeveloped economy. Its economy relied heavily on trade with the UK, and many people tried to escape poverty by emigrating from the country, which didn't help its economic situation. Things didn't improve much over time. By the late 1980s, Ireland was still one of the poorest countries in Western Europe. But it finally found the formula for success. Ireland was part of the European Union, a bloc of countries sharing a single market where companies can sell to all member states by paying taxes in just one of them. Ireland adopted the strategy of becoming a hub where foreign companies chose it to do business in the European Union. To attract these companies, Ireland applied a combination of low taxes and economic incentives. Shortly after, major American companies like Dell, Microsoft, and others chose to establish their official European residence in Ireland, not because it was a big market, but because they would save a lot of money on taxes. The taxes collected by Ireland boosted its economy like never before. In the 1990s and 2000s, it grew at a rate comparable to economies like Singapore or South Korea, earning the nickname Celtic Tiger. Then, in 2008, Ireland faced a global economic crisis, and its response was to intensify this low-tax strategy, almost reaching zero taxes. Ireland indeed became a global tax haven, where many American companies began to tax all their global profits in Ireland, where they paid very few taxes. Ireland ended up with a small piece of a big pie and emerged from the crisis like a Celtic phoenix, growing faster than ever and outpacing virtually all other countries. Unlike much of its history, Ireland saw its population grow as people were no longer leaving the country. On the contrary, many highly paid tech workers were arriving to work at big tech companies, and Ireland enjoyed its reputation as the new European Silicon Valley and its economic miracle. However, a paradox arises. If everything is going so well, why do so many people want to leave? Well, Ireland's success story begins to unravel when looked at more closely. Last year, a survey revealed that 7 out of 10 Irish people aged 18 to 24 are seriously considering leaving the country because they are not satisfied with the quality of life. And one of the reasons is the housing crisis that Ireland has been facing for several years. Ireland faces a notoriously severe housing crisis due to government policies that make it difficult to build dense urban housing and facilitate opposition and hindrance to new constructions. The result is a critical shortage of housing, making it unaffordable for most people. A year ago, there were only 850 housing units available for rent across the country, which has a population of 5 million inhabitants. This resulted in strange scenes, such as hundreds of people lining the streets of Dublin to view an apartment available for rent. Despite the housing crisis persisting for several years, the numerous protests, and government promises, little has been done to solve it. However, housing is just one example of a broader problem. Ireland is, in many ways, surprisingly mismanaged, with failures in building basic infrastructure and managing essential public services. The country struggles to build roads and energy infrastructures, and its healthcare system is constantly overwhelmed and underfunded. The paradox here is that, despite Ireland's impressive economic track record and brilliant reputation, the reality doesn't seem to measure up. One possible explanation is that Ireland's wealth is not as real as it seems, and the Irish miracle may not be as true as it is thought. Ireland has an extremely high GDP per capita, which is the most commonly used indicator to assess a country's economic outcomes. It might seem like the Irish economy is far ahead of others, however, when other statistics are looked at, things start to look strange. For example, the average wage is relatively high but doesn't align with the GDP. In fact, the average wage in Ireland is lower than that in most Scandinavian countries and is similar to that of countries like the Netherlands, Belgium, or Austria. However, Ireland's GDP per capita is significantly higher than that of these countries, approximately double. Other statistics also show a similar trend. For instance, disposable household income, which measures how much money people actually have at their disposal, puts Ireland below the EU average. In other words, there's a big gap between the data showing how rich Ireland appears to be and the actual wealth of the people. This results in a theory widely recognized by many economists but denied by the Irish government. Ireland isn't as rich as it appears on paper, and this is partly due to the fact that Irish GDP is mainly driven by global companies transferring their profits to Ireland. Though these profits weren't generated in Ireland, these companies aren't Irish, and the profits leave the country without really entering the Irish economy. This has been called the leprechaun economy, an economy where the country's GDP doesn't reflect the economic reality. In truth, Ireland can't be considered a rich country, but its specific economic model can be described as a tale of two Irelands, one rich and one poor. While GDP statistics may suggest that Ireland is thriving, the reality is that the average Irish person looks nothing like the Google software developer working for big tech companies. These companies employ only a small portion of the Irish workforce, while most people work in Ireland's domestic economy, which isn't related to big tech companies, and earn much less money. While wealthy Ireland gets most of the attention, the poverty that largely persists remains out of focus and portrays the everyday reality for most people. Furthermore, the magical accounting hides many flaws in the Irish economy, which would be immediately visible otherwise. For example, Ireland has one of the highest national debts in the world, but since national debt is usually communicated in relation to the country's GDP, this goes unnoticed. Now it seems like Ireland is doing well, but when GDP is set aside, it's realized that the situation isn't as good as it seems. Economist Aaron Levenstein once said, "Statistics are like bikinis, they suggest a lot but hide the essential." So far, Ireland has managed to hide the true nature of its supposed economic miracle. However, this situation may not last much longer. The fight against tax havens is intensifying, and the days when Ireland could collect taxes from big foreign companies may be coming to an end. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to keep having fun and learning with us, don't forget to click on the subscribe button and activate notifications to receive all our new videos. And don't forget to check out the recommended video next to you for more great content. Until next time.